and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Headlines. I'm your host, Odette Campbell. Last week, we spoke about mental health. It brought into sharp focus a whole set of issues looking at health holistically. We at the GBN have been sitting up and taking note in the past 2 years as a country grappled with COVID-19, and so too the other countries around the globe. And we decided, as a good corporate citizen, we have to call attention to these issues and to go beyond the headlines with them. We can tell you the news stories in probably 2.5 minutes, but we have decided that there's some issues we can't just let them pass us by. And so, apart from going beyond the headlines, we're going deeper. For the next 2 weeks, starting next Tuesday, 2 weeks in a row, we'll be having what we call a health forum. It's the brainchild of Mr. Godfrey Augustine, one of our producers here at the GBN. And we're happy to have several corporate bodies joining us to do this. Healthcare practitioners saying, yes, I will join the conversation. Last week, as we spoke about mental health, the whole issue of sports, the role of sports and getting our students back out onto the playing fields came into focus as well. In the second half of our program, we'll be joined by 3 distinguished men of sports. One has Grenadian roots, but he decided he's going to sing those roots into Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be talking with Shem Romain and one of his partners this evening, as well as Cheney Joseph. He likes to be called the footballer. We think we like to call him a football administrator now. So Cheney will be joining the conversation as well. As we here at the GBN look at health, we know some people might like to go onto the playing field. I can play netball very well. There's a certain body who thinks, he's the best javelin thrower and calls himself an athlete. We'll talk about that at some other point. But I don't think I like netball anymore. So I'd like to just probably socialize, meet you at the playing field. We could do a couple laps. But I think I want to grill some chicken, show you that I'm good at that. And there's some other skills probably that I want to share with you. So GBN is an all-encompassing entity. Yes, we bring you music and entertainment. And a little later in the program, we will have 2 officials of the marketing department, Ms. Janelle Mc Donald. You hear as a co-producer, an associate producer of the Beyond the Headlines program, but she is just such a truly wonderful human being. She's an all-rounder, and Janelle will be here to talk to us about that. And the man JC, we know he just likes what comes off the grill. As to whether he can grill it up, that's a totally different story. So sit tight. We have a packed agenda. I am going now to Godfrey Augustine, who decided it's time for us to talk health. Last year he organized an agricultural forum. Godfrey Augustine, people are wondering why.
Thank you, Odette. Thank you very much. I have been hosting Doctor and Call for the past three years, and during the process, a lot of attention has been given to a lot of issues that people have to grapple with on a daily basis, chronic conditions, and even in a lot of instances, simple issues that can be very stubborn. And so it occurred to me that we need to put more emphasis on our health. It also dawned on me that among us, we take personal responsibility for our health lightly. And this is one of the messages that we want to bring out of this health forum. The importance of personal responsibility. Yes, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have the pharmacy, we have all of that. But what are you doing? What am I doing as an individual to ensure that I do not, or in some cases, minimize my chances of being or getting ill health?
Godfrey, I think your hosting Doctor on Call is channeling you into the medical profession.
Why not?
I like that.
Why not?
So as Godfrey does all the planning and the coordinating in the background, it is important for us to have support. And so there are several medical practitioners who have signed on to this initiative. But most importantly, corporate sponsors have come alongside us and say, we will be part of this. And I'm pleased to present our title sponsor this evening, representative of the Antillean group, Mr. Cheney John. It is great, Mr. John, to have you with us this evening.
Oh, Odette, thank you very much. Hello, Grenada. Godfrey, thank you very much. This is a wonderful opportunity to share, to educate Grenadians, about our condition. I couldn't agree with Godfrey more. Personal responsibility, it starts there. Health takes that role of being significant in our life that we can't take it for granted.
And we'll come back to you for a little bit more about the Antillean group and why you see this as being so important. But we want to introduce another member of the panel, just to let you know that we have 5 people on Zoom this evening, but we'll be taking it in chunks, as we said. So let me just say to you that as relates to the health forum, we have Dr. Francis Martin, but also we have on Zoom this evening Mr. Cheney Joseph of the Grenada Football Association, Mr. Adrian Romain of Gateway Athletics International, and Mr. Shem Alexander of Gateway Athletics International. So they are with us, joining us at this time, but we will reserve their participation for the second half of the program. So let's welcome Dr. Martin, who is no stranger to Grenada, Carriacou, and Pidi Martini. Doc?
Sorry. Hi, Odette. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much to Godfrey for reaching out to me with the concept of what he wanted to do when it comes to health. And immediately it was a no-brainer for me to understand what Godfrey's intention was, because the kind of a national conversation that must happen surrounding personal responsibility for health and how do we raise our health statistics and so on. It's absolutely necessary, and I think now is an appropriate time for that discussion to happen. So I'm really looking forward to the interactions with all of my colleagues and professionals and the conversation that hopefully we're going to start nationally to make sure that we see a better day for our health in our country.
Great. So, Doc, we'll be coming back to you shortly. So, Mr. John, the Antillean Group, and people might wonder, well, why does Antillean Group align itself with this? Probably they think that you sell insurance policies to cover vehicles, probably to cover buildings. Why is Antillean Group, how does it align with health?
So, specifically, the company that's sponsoring this segment is Antillean Life. Antillean Group is a group of companies. We do general insurance, which is vehicles, houses, etc. But the other company, which is a life company, we do life and health, annuities, etc. And this sponsorship is basically from that stream. We believe that in the first instance, in order to take care of the person who owns the asset, the person themselves must be healthy. If you need to get an insurance policy at all, the underwriting criteria is really health. And that being said, it's a no-brainer. Apart from which, Antillean is as an organization, we're in our 25th year of operation. I'm a second-generation insurer, so my family's been in this business for about 35 years. It is important that we educate ourselves, and I think I can't emphasize that more. Most of the chronic situations that we find existing today, there's an increase in hypertension and diabetes. There's an increase in obesity, mental health, which you dealt with partly last week. All of this comes up to not a very good experience for the future. It means that the country is going to have to be spending a lot of money. A lot of our resources are going to have to be going into health care. Mm-hmm. And health care is expensive. Grenada is no exception. Let's make no bones about that. Healthcare is expensive. And one of the best ways of mitigating that is taking care of ourselves, taking that personal responsibility. It's said that from 40, we eat ourselves to death, which is sad, but you would think that we are far better attuned and understand better, but it means that we have more disposable income to do things like drink more. Which is, there are many who say that Grenada is one of the drinking capitals of the world, which is a stigma I don't quite agree with. However, it's with us. We've seen the proliferation of that instant universe where we want instant gratification. And food, we all like food. I like food. But food might not like us. And therefore, we have to figure out what are the salient points of our own system that does not allow us to consume the way we used to when we were 19, 15, and 15. And that being said, we as a corporate citizen and our origins in Grenada, it's a no-brainer. Okay. We have to be part of this.
Well said. I want to go back to Dr. Martin. So Dr. Martin, Godfrey and yourself and other members of the team had asked Godfrey to talk a little bit about what are some of the topics we'll be covering and who some of the presenters will be. You sat down and you thought about this, and people might ask, well, what more can we talk about? We've come out of COVID-19 and we tired Dr. Martin on these health issues, but I'm certain, Doc, that there are some critical issues that you want to highlight as we look ahead to the first part of the forum, which is next Tuesday.
Well, I think it's refocusing on the merits that we know has worked in the past for improving public health and improving health in countries. It's not necessarily old, but the integrated approach or the kind of approach that one must take towards health. Godfrey always talk about personal responsibility, but personal responsibility comes with some other things that helps you. You must give people an opportunity to, if you want people to exercise, you must give them an opportunity to exercise. So for example, it doesn't make sense telling someone, you must exercise every day, but in their village, there is no pasture for them to exercise. So in other words, people must have opportunities to do so. And so the concept is going forward into the future of healthcare. It cannot be a one-sided affair. It must be an integrated approach. It must be an approach that takes in those very important fundamentals and pillars of what we know improves healthcare in developing countries, and Grenada is one of the developing countries. So I am hoping that as we have that discussion nationally, we'll be able to see how important allocations of funds are as it relates to, who gets what when it comes to improving healthcare. The training needs that you have for countries, depending on our epidemiological profile and or the kind of diseases we have, my colleagues spoke about, obesity and hypertension and diabetes. And so we must, as a country, develop training to deal with that kind of a thing. Adoption of technology is important that as we go forward, we must embrace technology in order for us to be able to adequately provide the kind of care. So the topics and the discussions that we'll have will be based on those fundamental pillars. We cannot get away if we don't discuss health financing. How do we finance going forward? I mean, we spoke of insurance, and that's a whole other topic in and of itself. But we have to be able to use our resources that is available to us. And one of the things in developing countries, again, that the discussion has to have is, how do you use what you have on the island to help you? And I'm speaking here about research or tertiary level institutions. In other words, we as a country must use the best that we have to help us go forward. So I believe these are where all of the topics are going to come from. We're going to speak of nutrition. We're going to speak of mental health. We're going to speak of sports and exercising, diseases and treatment and so on. But they all are steeped in those fundamental pillars of what real good healthcare systems should be in developing countries. So as I say, I'm looking forward to it.
And I'm just super excited. You've outlined some topics there, which is like, ouch, yes, we need to go there. Godfrey, as we go there, some of the presenters.
Yeah, so we, just to sort of put it into context, we'll be looking at public and environmental health. And also, let me just say that there will be a slight adjustment in the presenters in the second week. So, for example, in week 1, Dr. Tonya Frame from SGU, she will speak on public health. In week 2, Dr. Martin Ford from SGU would speak on environmental health. And these two are closely, related. And we can understand the importance of public and environmental health. We'll speak on nutrition. And Mrs. Lydia Brown, who is a dietitian with the Food and Nutrition Council, and that's under the Ministry of Agriculture, she will talk a bit about nutrition and some of the gaps that are there, and how we can fill in those gaps to ensure that, the best nutrition is available to everyone. The issue of lifestyle and sexual and reproductive health, there's a stigma to that, but it does have significant effects on our wellness. And so it's important that we discuss that. And the Grenada Planned Parenthood Association, they've just reopened not very long ago, and there are a lot of opportunities with the GPPA for people to help protect themselves as it relates to the sexual and reproductive health, and be very mindful of the kind of lifestyles that people lead. The area of mental health, and this has been, trending so much in the past couple of weeks. We've been seeing and hearing of things that's troubling, and so we will be dealing with the issue of mental health and what approaches we need to take to help, mitigate that. Disease diagnosis and treatment, and of course Dr. Martin will be talking at length on that. So these are some of the the areas. I forgot to mention that Mrs. Marva Joseph will be the one representing the GPPA, speaking on lifestyle and sexual health. And of course, when you put all of that together, and Dr. Martin and of course Mr. John mentioned about healthcare being expensive. Now, what can we do in the event of, or maybe when that time comes when we need to take care of our health? Now, if you cannot afford healthcare, that could make the difference between life and death. And so Mr. John will address some of those issues, because it's very, very, very important. And over the past few weeks, as I thought about it, and I had discussions with Mr. John and Dr. Martin and Dr. Nixon and all the others, it's sinking deeper and deeper how important it is to have that conversation at that level. So it's very, very important. And of course, as we discuss, a lot of things would come to light. And what I want to let the public know as well, that following the forum, because we won't be able to go into everything in the forum, but following that, all the panelists in the following weeks will be on Doctor and Call to go into more details on some of the areas that we discuss. Good. So it's very, very important.
Yeah. Mr. John, it's hard to pick out any one of the subjects and say that I'd like to focus on that one. And I'm just thinking here of, how grateful the Grenadian public has to be to Antillean Life through Antillean Group for throwing its support behind this. The whole issue of healthcare financing, the Affordable Care Act, we know that President Obama had a very hard time passing that, but he was very passionate about it because he saw what was happening to American citizens when they could not afford healthcare. And I'm certain your company is sitting there saying, we are here to take that up and help propel Grenada forward.
I think the question of healthcare and affordability and its financing is something that as a nation we have to look at. There would have been an initiative through National Health recently, and there were some extensive consultancies that happened. I was part of a couple of them. And there are many questions. I think generally they did a very good job in terms of the research they did, the group, Dr. Ned and his group, in trying to pinpoint and structure the way that could be done. But we're a little bit away from that. This is just my opinion, simply because we need a cultural to approach this subject for it to be successful. It's not something that you get up today and say, okay, all of a sudden we have national health. Even with all the fantastic work they did, there are some issues that surrounding the financing of it that we need cultural change in our country in order for it to be, for it to work properly. And so there's so many topics that comes out of this forum that we can continue this, and we ought to continue having the discussion, if nothing else but to educate our people. The worst part of it is not knowing that you don't know. That's the worst part, and I think some of us are eager to get tips on how do we get in the know.
Great. And as we get ready to wrap up this segment, let me just cross back to Dr. Martin. Dr. Martin, for somebody who thought, healthcare is boring, I wouldn't want to listen to this forum, you're saying no, and people should make sure that they're logged in.
Oh yes. I mean, the kind of expertise we will be having on that forum, I don't think, in my own experience here in the last 20 years, we've never had something like that. It's going to be information in one place at one time, putting things together in a comprehensive way that I think is going to work really, really well, not just for patients or citizens, but for health administrators. They will get an opportunity to see this thing as well. Everyone from every strata will be able to get something, take something away from that forum that we have to, that we're going to be doing. But please allow me 30 seconds to say something. Mr. John, I'm not so sure if you're going to like this, but you guys need to know that Mr. John has done something for us for doctors in Grenada here that has never been done before. You know that doctors now are supposed to have license, and there is all indemnity things surrounding this licensing and so on. And traditionally in the Caribbean, we've always, as a people, utilize those insurance and indemnity in foreign countries like the United States. A lot of billions of dollars leave the country and go away. And we were determined, a group of us as Grenadians, determined not to make the sugar and send it to England anymore. And the only local group that came to our rescue was Mr. John and Antillean. So I want to publicly say thank you to you for being a groundbreaker and a pioneer in helping Grenadian doctors to know that we can get our full license here through your support, and that it doesn't need to send money elsewhere for indemnity and other kind of things. And I personally thank you so much for that, and I hope my other colleagues would say likewise. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Martin, and you just have me going in the studio, whoop, whoop. And Mr. John, I know that you're there, and he's like, why did he have to say that and put me in the spotlight? And I think that's a very positive note to put a pause on the discussion, because next week, Tuesday, the first installment of the GBN Health Forum will be held. It's the Antillean Group, Antillean Life. Mr. John Pops will be very pleased. He's sitting in heaven and smiling down at you.
This month was his birthday on the 6th. Ooh. And, I thought it fitting. This was the area of insurance that, he spent his life involved in, life and health and so on. So it's a rich tradition as Grenadians that we have to understand. There are those who came before us and we stand on their shoulders. And in giving back, what better way than to educate the public about things that are common, how life works. Life works basically, and the relationship between all of this. Dr. Martin, you're too kind. Simply your humble servant. Doctors had a problem. We solved it. We created a product just for doctors to be able to join the bigger world in what is normal. Mm-hmm. That's not normally afforded here. It's just part of what we do as Antillean. That is who we are. We create things from scratch, products from scratch, where we see the need is necessary. But I am excited about the forum. I have to tell you this. I'm really excited. Godfrey. I don't think we can give Godfrey enough praise for the wheels that turn in this. We banter a lot because SARS, GBSS, there's some rivalry. But
yes, indeed.
We don't tell each other enough when we are proud of them. Mm-hmm. And I'm really proud of you, Godfrey, for this initiative.
Thank you, Kenny. But I can't just take all of this on my own. I remember when I said to, and I have to refer to her now as Mrs. Campbell, about this, and she looked at me and she said, exact words, me? What does he do with the agricultural farm? I ain't taking no part. Do you think? Those were exact words. I knew that was saying to me, look, you have my support. I'm behind you 100%. Go and do what you have to do. And I also have to give credit to people like Dr. Nixon and others who's always with me. And we talk, and I have learned so much from all of these people. And I think what is happening now is as a result of my interaction and all the knowledge that I've gained from some of them. But just before we go off, I just want to say thanks to the partners who came on board to make this possible. Of course, Antillean Life was come on board in such a big way. In fact, when I contacted Kenny here, he was not even on island. And I sent him the information and he was quite eager. So I'm really happy for that. Also, Gittins Healthcare, they've always supported, and I'm really thankful. Spiceal Imaging Center, they've also been, they're one of the partners. The Grenada Planned Parenthood Association, and they will be represented at the forum as well. Grenada Paper Products, Hubbard's Motor Department, Bryden and Miners through their 7 C's line of products, and also the Grenville Credit Union. So I'm very thankful for our partners who've come on board and make this happen, and I'm looking forward.
I am truly looking forward to the health forum. I heard Mr. John talk about over 40s, what we do to ourselves. So he's like, don't go there, Mr. John, but he has to go there. What he said is quite true, and I am looking forward to that because I'm at the stage in my life where I need to take care of my health. Dr. Martin has been pointing that out to us. Dr. Martin, an associate member of staff of the GBN, thank you so much during the COVID period when we had our hesitancy and our doubts and our fears about vaccination. He came on a very busy day. His phone was blowing off the hook. Other people were waiting on him, but he came and he was very patient. And I mean, we owe each other in Grenada so much love that I don't think we recognize it, and we see the accolades passing around. I'm getting goose pimples looking forward to this forum, and to everybody who's really banded together to do this with the GBN. Doc, we salute you. We look forward to seeing you next week and the following week. Mr. John, we're looking forward to that. And Godfrey, the trophy is being prepared because, yes, last year it was agriculture, a very important subject matter, and this year we've moved on to health. We've come out of COVID-19, but we at the GBN, like I said at the start, we have been sitting up, taking note, and decided that we have to drive this conversation. So to all our corporate partners, Janelle Mc Donald in the marketing department, Joseph Cadore, and other members of the GBN team, Kellon, Batiste, Darius, Slocum, Mike Alexis, the list is endless. The number of people working behind the scenes to make this happen. Grenada, don't miss this. Godfrey, it's next week Tuesday and the following Tuesday, 22nd,
yes,
29th?
Yeah, 22nd and 29th, 8 o'clock.
Very good. Indeed. So this is where we take a break and we put a little pause on this conversation. The Health Forum will continue. We just wanted to look forward to what's happening next week. We take a commercial break, and as promised, we will continue the conversation on health, but this time we'll be taking a closer look at sports. A couple weeks ago, we kept our eyes on sports, and one of our sports administrators had a concern. And in my head, sport is important, and a lot of students who probably academically may not get a scholarship, they can get sports scholarships. But some people have some concerns about that. They're wondering whether we send our sports people abroad to scrunt. Question. We'll be getting that answered when we come back on Beyond the Headlines with three of our panelists. We'll see you shortly.
Need a quick, convenient way to pay your bills and avoid lines? Use the online banking feature from Republic Bank, First Caribbean, or Co-op Bank. Contact them today to set up your online banking and enjoy 24-hour convenience to make your bill payments. Stay safe. Grenlec, we are united even when we are apart.
The next chapter in West Indies' biggest rivalry continues. West Indies flies against England for the Apex Test Series in 3 test matches. Tickets start as low as $20 and local residents enjoy an additional 50% discount with online purchase. Must be fully vaccinated to attend all matches, and COVID-19 protocols will be in effect. Secure your seats to the action. Get your tickets in advance at windiescricket.com/tickets. Terms and conditions apply.
The Nawasa app brings the power of Nawasa's customer service experience to you. Instant, conversational, and smart. Easy access anywhere. Get bill balance, transaction history for up to 6 months, report a fault, link to websites, view payment centers, contact information, push notifications, and multi-tenant accounts, all in a secure login platform. Like a self-service concierge app, mobile.nawasa.gd gets you the support you need much faster. Available on both Android and iOS platforms. Mobile.nawasa.gd, your customer support companion. Nawasa, committed to meeting customers' needs.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business.
For your education.
For your financial freedom.
For that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Here
Here is a little known fact. There is only one place in Grenada that you can get an MRI scan done. That place is Spicile Imaging Center. Yes, Grenada, that's the truth. Other centers could offer you other scans, but Spicile Imaging provides an authentic MRI scan. Here's another little known fact. Spicile Imaging has 3 centers. We operate at Grenville, the Carnage, and at the Ocean House, Grandlands. We provide the widest range of laboratory tests and services. CT scans, x-rays, mammograms, ultrasounds, and a host of other services. We are fully staffed by a team of family doctors and specialists. Call us today at 444-7679. or 406-1500, or visit any of our 3 locations. Spicile Imaging, from seeing the doctor to getting lab tests, scans, and pharmacy services. We are here to take care of you.
When you need your prescription filled or you require non-prescribed medication, supplements, or all your personal needs, visit Gittins Healthcare at locations on Wall Street, Grandlands, Victoria Street, Grenville, and Central Deputy Street, Wharf. Gittins Healthcare aims to provide an exceptional personalized pharmacy experience. Additionally, children under 5 and adults 55 years and over will enjoy 10% discount on purchases of $20 and over on prescription medication. Stop settling for less. Visit Gittins Healthcare, where your health is our priority.
Let's start the new year on a high, a detox high, because it's detox time again at Nirvana Detox Center, a natural health store. Check out our many detox packages starting from $100 or get 15% off on colonic irrigation therapy. Detoxing can help with liver and blood cleansing, weight loss, constipation, acid reflux, kidney stones, heavy metal removal, gas and bloating, and more. Call or WhatsApp us on 231-6642, 418-7115, or 449-7753. Ask about our delivery options. Visit us now. Bruce Street Mall, store number 1208, or Belmont St. George's, close to the Fall Edge area. Our opening hours are Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Nirvana Detox Center and Natural Health Store. Detox your way to health. These specials ends on March 31st or while stocks last.
You can now send a gift card to your loved ones locally or internationally thanks to the food fair. Here's how it works. Click the gift card icon or banner, customize your gift card by choosing from different templates, dollar amount, and personalized messages. You can also upload your personal design. Select Add to Cart and complete transaction. Allow relatives and friends to pick up an item or items at the food fair for the dollar value. Gift card. It's that easy.
Have you heard about the new Softweave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Softweave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue, available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Softweave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
And welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. A very exciting first segment going there. We had Mr. Kenny John. He's the managing director of the Antillean group of companies here in Grenada, looking ahead to the Antillean Life Health Forum to be held on the GBN next Tuesday and the following Tuesday. We had Mr. Godfrey Augustine, whose brainchild it was his idea, and it is going to be a great forum. We also had Dr. Francis Martin, Grenada's leading health expert. We'll just leave that unqualified. He has proven himself through COVID-19, taking Grenada through a very difficult period, and we know that he's gone back into private practice. He'll be one of the experts sharing with us, so we're looking forward to that. You won't want to miss it. And last week, like we said, we discussed mental health. This week we're looking ahead to the health forum, and we have been connecting the dots, really looking at the importance of holistic life, and we are going to move on now to sports. A couple of weeks ago we had our eyes all on sports. We did a program focusing on sports, and I'm pleased to present three members of the panel. Joining us now, Mr. Cheney Joseph. He's the president of the Football Association. During the discussion, like I said a couple of weeks ago, we looked at scholarships for our students, and we have Mr. Adrian Romain and Mr. Shem Alexander, and they're both of Gateway Athletics International. It's based in Trinidad and Tobago. They are scouts really looking for top athletes across the region. We expect them in Grenada shortly to look at some of the athletes who are up and coming and to see how they can be assisted. We had a very interesting comment coming from Mr. Conrad Francis of the Athletics Association a couple of weeks ago. We will be revisiting that comment as the discussion progresses this evening. So let's cross now first to Mr. Cheney Joseph. Mr. Joseph, you are one of the stalwarts as far as Grenada is concerned in terms of sports. We've known you as a footballer, and now you're into sports administration.
Good night to your viewers and listeners across the region. I must first of all compliment the panelists in the earlier half of the session. And I must congratulate you guys for putting it on. I'm hopeful that the next 2 weeks, when these programs are in fact viewed, that persons will be glued to GBN's television to look at it. In fact, I must admit, just in that short introduction, lots of information came out, and I thought, wow, there's a lot of things we take for granted, and I think it is an important forum, but I think 2 weeks might just be too short.
It might just be too short, and we at the GBN, we're very responsive. And as Godfrey did say, that in the series of Doctor on Call programs, in the ensuing weeks, we will delve deeper into the subject matters, because we know that these are heavy subjects and these are weighty matters that must be cut and dissected. So let's go over then to our two colleagues from Trinidad and Tobago, Adrian Romain, and Shem Alexander, and there's some Grenadian roots. Wherever you see a Trini, you could tell yourself there's a half Grenadian walking around. So who's taking us first? The Grenadian Trini?
Good night. Thanks a lot for having us, and I must commend the president of the Grenada Football Association for giving us this opportunity, and your station GBN, because at the end of the day, Gateway Athletics is all about exposure and building partnerships, and it's a pleasure that we can share what we are about to bring to Grenada football, and by extension athletics overall. So it's a pleasure being here tonight.
Great. And so let's move on then. And our other colleague there, Shenny, sorry.
Shem.
Hi, good night, everyone. I just want to add to what Adrian would have said. Thank you a lot, Mr. Joseph, and the network for granting us this opportunity and having an open door for some initial conversations. So how we could extend some of the opportunities that we have given to Trinidad and Tobago players for over 10 years. So I want to say thanks, and we look forward to great work happening in Grenada soon.
Great. So Gateway Athletics International. So Adrian, tell us a little bit about Gateway Athletics International. What do you do, and why Grenada now?
Well, Gateway Athletics was established in 2012. It's Shem's brainchild, and honestly, he attended college, and with him attending college, he was not recruited by how his other teammates got recruited, and it's his brainchild, and I must commend him for this. So it showed that there was a flaw in terms of Caribbean people getting an opportunity through agencies being advertised to get that forum where they can be seen and scouted. And with Gateway establishing themselves in 2012 to 2022, thank God, we have basically sent over 100 student athletes to top colleges in the US, and now we have a partnership with colleges in the UK. Gateway is basically about giving student athletes an opportunity to continue their education, to gain degrees and masters, and also a new life, and that's what we are about at Gateway.
Great. So Adrian, Gateway will come into Grenada and do what?
Well, we basically comes into Grenada, and we cannot forget that Grenada already has something, has built a good reputation in terms of football around the Caribbean and sports by extension. At the moment, we are concentrating on student athletes who's part of the FA, who wants to receive scholarships, who wants to be scouted, who wants to get profiles, who wants to get video coverage, and that's what we are about. Our goal is to come to Grenada, market these young kids, give them the best opportunity as possible, because we have a lot of coaches from top colleges within the US that is interested in young players. We guide them, we prepare profiles for them, and basically we get the best offer for them in college, and that's our plan. We are Shem and I always say we are not here to build houses and hotels. We are here to get it done, and that's our vision. So with the president's support and with the Grenada football teams, to be honest, we see it being a groundbreaking opportunity where we can basically give Grenada football a bigger competitive pool for national teams, and even the education aspect of things. A lot of Grenadian young footballers will go on to get degrees and masters, and that's what we are about.
Right. So, Shem, some people might be wondering, okay, so what's in it for them? They're promoting this about something for me, but what's in it for Gateway International?
So for us, since 2012, as Adrian would have mentioned, we would have sent over 100 players abroad. And to be honest, that number could have been over 500 or 600 players. The amount of players and statistics will show that in the US, only 7% of high school players or high school athletes go on to play college level athletics. So it means that the other 93% has to come from somewhere. So that's why many times coaches will recruit internationally. So for the past 5 or 6 years, we have had a decline in the number of student athletes we have had available in Trinidad and Tobago, simply because a lot of them would have wanted to go down the professional route. So our aim and our goal at Gateway Athletics is to build the number of eligible student athletes from the Caribbean. So we're not just focusing on Trinidad and Tobago, but from the Caribbean to receive scholarships abroad. So I'll give you an example. So just yesterday, the coach from Weber International University would have sent me an email looking for a forward who has eligibility and who is of the level to go on a scholarship. And to be honest, we don't have any players that fits that criteria now. So it is our goal that if we don't have players readily available in Trinidad, we can be able to call on players from Grenada, from Angola, from Barbados, so that we build our regional football. Because it's not just about Trinidad and Tobago, it's about the entire Caribbean. As Adrian would have said, other regions in the world are more united, and other regions in the world are providing more players with opportunities. So we just want to be the vehicle that levels that playing field. So as Adrian would have mentioned, in my college experience, I went to Palm Beach Atlantic University, and I was the only player out of 12 players from 4 different regions around the world that would have had to go abroad to try out to receive a scholarship, where there are other other programs like Youth Athletics in Europe, in South America, in North America, that would have players readily available. So we are saying, why can't we have something like that in the Caribbean, where coaches, North American coaches always love Caribbean players because we are more athletic than what they have in North America. So we want to be a united Caribbean front in terms of educating our players.
Great, and you're making some fantastic points, but today I heard a Minister of Health in one of the Caribbean islands talking about the fact that we're experiencing a brain drain as far as nurses was concerned, and some of the points you're making they're making me wonder. So we're just exporting our athletes. But I want to explore that with Cheney Joseph, but first, let's go to a comment made by Mr. Conrad Francis of the Grenada Athletic Association a couple of weeks ago on February 21st, actually on this program. So let's look back at what Conrad's thoughts on this whole thing was.
And I'll give you one example. Traditionally, what we do in Grenada, not only in Grenada, but in the Caribbean, some islands have started to change that. But traditionally, what we do is that, and as I like to put it, we export our athletes. We export them. The time has come when we need to take a closer look at that. Is that the way we want to go? Is this the way forward? I believe that this has to change. What is happening now on the U.S. collegiate circuit is that the scholarships that are offered is diminishing. Every year is diminishing. In other words, there are roadblocks, a lot of roadblocks preventing our athletes from getting into colleges in the United States. And we have to be aware of that. Right? Athletes leave Grenada shores going on scholarships. And they are not fully funded. They do not have a full scholarship. So when they get out there, it's problems. If we do a proper survey, we would realize that almost 90% of our athletes, when they leave Grenada, they do not succeed. The other 10% may succeed track and field wise, right? Another 10% may succeed academically. But is that enough? Is that why we want them to go on scholarship? Is it the fact that we want them to receive a better education? Is it because we want them to excel at the sports? So there are two reasons.
So he does explain what the two reasons are, but before we hear what his two reasons are, as far as he's concerned, let's hear from Cheney Joseph, the president of the Football Association.
Okay, thank you. And I would have liked to hear that conversation a little bit earlier, so I'm not in that awkward spot. But I will say, from what I heard from Mr. Francis, he said something to the sort that we are exporting our athletes. And I would say there's a balance between export and exports, right? And I will say, openly speaking, we got to look at it from the context of what is being offered, who is being advising these athletes prior to them accepting the scholarship, and what exactly did we, in fact, negotiate prior to these athletes going out. I can tell you, and I'm agreeing with Conrad in one sense, I know of at least 15 or so footballers who went out on soccer scholarship. And in fact, in one case, one particular player, after 3 weeks, he had to call his parents and ask them to come negotiate to take his personal effects back to his home. I know of another athlete whose parents indicated that she's still paying the loan even though her son has graduated almost 4 years now. Now, the reality is we must first of all, and I'm hopeful that both Shem and Adrian will speak about it, we must first of all take into consideration the information that's provided to these athletes and also the guidance that's offered to these athletes. from my perspective, an athlete should first of all know what level of scholarship he is about to accept prior to even putting his signature to that application or to that acceptance of scholarship. There are some coaches, for example, who are keen on just winning, and therefore these coaches don't care much about your education. There are coaches, again, whose focus is on the academic side, and so they don't really care much about the sporting excellence of these athletes. What I will say, and I have to be careful because I'm the acting president of the Olympic Committee, is not to contradict Mr. Francis, but to say it tells me from what he said that it is a case of properly providing information to athletes and making sure that what is being offered to the athletes is consistent with the experience they will get when they eventually go to these colleges. What I will also say, which may sound a little awkward, the government has to also consider what we want to achieve for our athletes in sports. And I say the government, not the association, because our local associations don't have the necessary financial resources to keep students out there full-time in school. Otherwise, a great percentage of the money will be going just towards tuition for these kids and accommodation. What I can say on the contrary is I differ with him when he says that the opportunities are lessening. In fact, we have one athlete, and I can call his name, Ronaldo Joseph, who is a national U20, U17, U15, U20 player, and having gone out there just a few months ago, his coach is now looking to Grenada for opportunities to offer similar scholarship to him, and he is on a full scholarship. So, again, not trying to contradict, I listened to both Shem and Adrian in a previous discussion with some of the local club coaches, and I really believe, and I will say it openly, I endorse the efforts that they're making, and I'm hoping they'll get a chance to say some more to Canadians regarding their experience and expertise.
All right. Definitely we will try to get him back on a full program to discuss probably this and the ins and outs of scholarships. But I just want us to just revisit the second part of what Mr. Francis said so that we don't take him out of context. He has some ideas as to probably what we could do differently, and then I'll come back to Shem and Adrian so we could put a wrap on it. Like I said, we're connecting dots tonight. We're looking at health, wellness, sports, and socialization. So let's go back to a second insert from Mr. Francis.
If we take the first one, academically, to improve themselves academically, I'm saying that we need to look closely at our institutions of learning here, see how TAMCC, we can use TAMCC, where our athletes can go to TAMCC and come out with a skill. We need to look at SGU. The athletes could go to SGU because, let me tell you, some of these athletes, many of them, when they get to the United States, you know what they study? Business administration. SGU is offering business, right? The other part of it is that our coaches are some of the best in the world. They are some of the best in the world. And if it's better coaching they are going for, sometimes they are very disappointed. I remember there are times when athletes who travel, they still look to the local coaches to send them programs, to send them training programs. Right? So I think we have to look at it closely. I think we have the coaches here, we have the institutions of learning, and we have the facilities. So it's just a question of putting these things together. I'm not saying, and I want to be very clear about it, I'm not saying that athletes should not go on scholarship. But I'm saying that when they leave here, they must know it is a full scholarship that they have. And I'm also saying that it is preferably if they go straight onto a 4-year college instead of going to a 2-year college and then they have to branch off, but there are a lot of factors that we have to look at. But I think that is one way that the whole landscape of the sport is changing, and we have to take note of it and adapt accordingly.
All right, so Shem, I'm coming to you first to ask you to share your thoughts on the comments made by Mr. Conrad Francis. Shem?
Hi, so that was a very interesting interview. A lot of valid, I wouldn't say points, but concerns by the gentleman. A lot of things for us to talk about. I'll try to run through it quickly. In terms of the brain drain that you would have mentioned previously, I don't believe in brain drain. I think I'm a living testament to that. As I said, I would have gone to Palm Beach Atlantic University, and I would have taken my degree and my experiences to come back to Trinidad and Tobago with the help of Adrian and my team, and sent over 100 players on scholarship since 2012. So I think that's the total opposite of brain drain. In terms, it's a bit different because I think the gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he's coming from a point of strictly track and field. In terms of football, we do work with different athletes, but to be frank, our biggest market is with US coaches in the game of football, or soccer as they call it. And one of the main things, if we are realistic with the landscape right now, is that US soccer is on a massive wave in terms of development. So an MLS game or USL game now has more funds and more money than some of these Italian clubs. So right in the US, the market is greater for our Caribbean athletes to go abroad and earn a respectable dollar. Where our local leagues, if we are quite frank, in the Caribbean isn't at the standard of these North American leagues. So colleges are stepping stone for our Caribbean players to play at a higher level, which in turn will force them to come back to strengthen our national team. Right? He is right. Grenada and our other Caribbean partners does have some of the best coaches, especially in track and field, but it may not be the same in football. I will agree with the president when he said that the opportunities are diminishing. It is the complete opposite from our side. As I said, we are bombarded by coaches looking for players who would have excelled previously. The coaches would be looking for players such as Ricardo John and Lester Peltier and others who would have gone and done amazing things abroad. And coaches now want to offer those type of players similar scholarship. What I would say is that us in the Caribbean, we lack a few things. So in terms of video production, so a coach will want a player and he would come to us and, okay, I'm Adrian, I'm looking for a forward. And we will say, okay, we have a forward, he's 18 years old, he plays with the national team. The coach may ask, does he have video? And we say no. So now the coach has to go based on our recommendation. And to offer somebody $25,000 on a scholarship based on a guess is very difficult. So us providing videos for coaches to see an athletic and an academic resume gives them more bargaining rights in terms of a scholarship money award. So if we have videos and resumes for these players, it is very easy for us to bargain. We have never had any players that would have left our shores under Gateway Athletic that hasn't known or didn't know the financial commitments that they would have had to endure. So sometimes when you negotiate on your own, sometimes these athletes are very eager to go abroad, and the parents as well, and they might jump at the first offer that they are given. But that's why Gateway Athletics, one of our services is coach communication in terms of negotiating scholarships. Just last week, I would have spoken to a coach in Indiana. And part of the negotiation that we are doing is letting the coach know upfront that this player has no money or little to no money to go abroad, and the coach has committed to finding the jobs for them on campus and that kind of thing. So if that's as I said, that's the importance of a program such as Gateway Athletics, because every other continent basically has someone doing those negotiations. Another point I heard them made, TAMCU, I'm guessing that's the equivalent to MIC. So in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a technical vocational institution called MIC where they learn trade. So we do that same thing in Trinidad and Tobago, where some of our athletes may not have the finances or may not be good enough to go abroad, and we kind of siphon them into those programs. And lastly, I heard the point made of trying to send our players to 4-year colleges rather than 2-year. So the biggest problem that we have two major problems in the Caribbean that has us at a disadvantage. One is no video or marketable profiles, and two, majority of our players don't have SATs. If you don't have an SAT score, the only college you can go to is a junior college, which is a 2-year college. So it's called 2+2. So you go 2 years to a junior college, you come out with your associate degree, and then you go on to a 4-year university. So you spend the same 4 years, and you come out with an associate degree and a bachelor's degree. So it's the same 4 years. But if we don't have SATs, you can't go to a 4-year university. So it's easy for us to sit down and say, yeah, we'd love all our athletes to go to a 4-year university. But as Adrian said, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. So that's why Gateway Athletics is here, to educate all our athletes and coaches and parents on steps that you need to have beforehand, so that it gives you the best opportunity to get a full scholarship, as the gentleman would have alluded.
All right. Thank you so much for that explanation, and I'm happy that on Beyond the Headlines we can go beyond the song bites and interrogate these issues. And Adrian, I was going to ask you to look at one of the points that your colleague covered, so to be redundant to do that. So let me say a very special thank you to both of you and to Mr. Joseph for joining the conversation as we connect the dots, looking last week at mental health, the importance of sports, looking back to the comments made by Mr. Conrad Francis, and being able to ventilate this issue further. 30 seconds for closing thoughts to you, Adrian, as we get ready to put a wrap on this segment of the program.
Yeah, I must say I thank you all for having us, and we at Gateway Athletics really appreciate the hard work that is happening in the Grenada FA, and we are excited to work with the children that is on the ground in Grenada and give them the opportunity, and that's important for us. So we thank you for having us, and we hope that we can have another conversation to even speak about our programs and what we're about and what we want to roll out in Grenada later on this year.
Thank you very much. And Cheney Joseph, you're here with us all the time. JC he's planning to have a full Beyond the Headlines interrogating sporting matters. I'm certain that you'll be on that panel, but he says for the time being he's releasing you so that you can get ready for King of the Grill 2022.
Thank you.
All right, so talk to you again. This is Beyond the Headlines. This evening we're connecting dots. We started off looking ahead to the health forum to be held here on the GBN next Tuesday and on the 29th. And we have been looking at sports, its importance in our overall well-being, and especially for young people, the opportunities that are available through scholarships. And we are moving on to the biggest subject of the night. Who will be crowned the King of the Grill 2022? JC is going to be here. I kind of smell something in the corner, like some chicken on a grill. I'm not sure if it's him or if it's Leon a little bit down the road further. Janelle Mc Donald, the lady who makes it happen. And Godfrey Augustine, he is forever with the team. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Imagine
having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
Introducing the Grenlec mobile app. You can now get your bill balance and easily track energy usage for your home or business. Report and receive alerts about power outages. Plus, stay up to date by receiving the latest notifications. Yes, the Grenlec app keeps you connected anytime, anywhere. The Grenlec mobile app. Download for 24/7 access.
Your life is yours. Your future's in your hands. Your body is yours. That's why you need a plan. You gotta plan your family, avoid HIV, get the education from the Grenada Planned Parenthood Association.
We offer STI screening, gender-based violence counseling, prenatal and postnatal checks, injectables, condoms, pap smears, and other sexual reproductive services. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Pointe Street, St. George's. Whether male or female, it doesn't matter. We're here to make your life better.
Grenada Planned Parenthood Association.
For appointments, call 440-3341.
If there was ever a time to keep and stay healthy, it's now! We at Hills and Valley are here to help you take deliberate steps to maintain your health. We stayed true to maintaining the most comprehensive rates while stocking the widest range of medicines and health devices, including personal protective equipment. There are so many benefits shopping with us. You get great savings through discounts for senior citizens and reward cards for loyal customers. Ask about owning yours today. Visit us at Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George, Jubilee Street opposite the Grenville Bus Terminal, and at Hillsborough, Carriacou. Our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street also stocks the widest range of pharmaceuticals. We are with you on the hills and in the valleys. We are Hills and Valley Pharmacy.
Clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG. Clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern environment environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island. Private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment as you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest. Visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We have been connecting dots the entire evening. We started off looking ahead to the GBN Health Forum, which starts next Tuesday, and the second part of it will be on the 29th. We then went to sports. We have been discussing the importance of sports in our overall health and well-being. And at the GBN, we believe in holistic health. So once we've gotten those activities out of the way, we must go and socialize. They tell us social distancing. Is that even possible? Well, we'll see. We saw Janelle Mc Donald. Is it possible? She's the head of sales and marketing at the GBN, and she's getting ready for one of our signature events. But before we go to King of the Grill, there are several initiatives that she's working on all at the same time. Janelle, there's cricket, there's the World Indoor Championships, there's a health forum. There are several other programs here at the GBN that we're looking forward to. Tell us what you have on the plate on the slate.
Well, good night, Mrs. Campbell. First, I'll have to say thank you for having me out. I think this is the latest I've been out since COVID started. So it's a special night for me, being out and being here. Indeed, there are several initiatives we're working on. I have to pull my paper. I'm not as young as I used to be. The first actually starts this weekend. That's the World Indoor Championships. It's from the 18th to the 20th of March. We're getting it from Jamaica, TVJ. I understand we don't have any athletes in it, but there's going to be quality sports at the highest level. A little later on, we have World Athletics Championship in July. And I understand we have quite a few Grenadians that are going to be on that, so we're very excited for that. Even before that, though, I jumped to athletics first. We have cricket coming up. You know, Joseph has been predicting who's going to win the test series. We actually have a bet going. So from the 24th to the 28th of March this month, we know a lot of folks are going to be at the National Stadium. We also know, based on the requirements, that some people may not be able to get in. So of course, we're doing some coverage on Classic Radio so Grenadians can follow the match, you know, in real time. We have the usual team that covers cricket internationally, quality coverage as usual, because as you know, we keep the standards up when we do these productions. So that cricket is going to be on Classic Radio. There is a very special film we've been trying to get the rights for. It's something we had to purchase, but we've been seeing, you mentioned it earlier, we've been seeing what is happening in society, and we always try to tailor our programming to try to address some of these issues. So Breaking the Cycle is a story of a young mother who was abused, and she's trying to break the cycle. And you know, what really hooked me was when she spoke about her children and them witnessing the abuse, and her son, you know, starting to turn to violence, and she said, I can't let this continue. So it was important for her to break that cycle. So we wanted to show it for International Women's Day, but that didn't quite happen. But we're looking to air it on the 23rd. So folks, please tune in for that. That's going to be a special production on the Wednesday, the 23rd at 8:30 p.m. Breaking the Cycle. She's going to share her story. She's actually become an advocate now for young women, women who are going through that issue. Mother's Day is around the corner. We have something cooking. I can't quite let the cat out of the bag just yet, but something is cooking special for Mother's Day. Of course, not forgetting our younger audience. We're working on several initiatives for Hot 98. And the younger audiences, they're with, of course, some of our partners and stakeholders. So that is work in progress. probably on the morning show, we're going to talk some more and let the folks know what is coming. There is something else that is coming. It's another brainchild of a certain person in this room. I wouldn't say who, because he doesn't like much credit, but I mean, sometimes you have to give credit where it's due. And that is a tree planting initiative. And again, sometimes we look at the news and we look at our current affairs programs and some of the issues that come to the fore. And even some of the programs, sometimes we take it lightly. We culture, we talk about our culture and our history and the things that make us Grenadian. And they were saying we're losing a lot of our fruits. A lot of the fruits that our parents and our grandparents grew up with, the stinking toe and the fat pork and the different types of fruits. And you know what is fat pork?
I was just like, oh Lord, so she had to say them too.
Yes, and I actually introduced my daughter to Star Apple last week because as part of that same program, that certain member of the team went out and he found Star Apple, which we haven't seen in years. He's very silent and he's looking at me crossly, but that's okay. And that program is it's in partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture, I have to say. And they're going to find some of these indigenous plants that we are losing, and they're going to work with several Grenadians across the country to start to replant. And of course, we'd want to invite, our younger folks to come and see what these fruits are, come and taste them, come and sample them. And they're going to help us get these and other plants. So we want to start with at least 100 plants on that first program. So that is coming, work in progress again with the Ministry of Agriculture and several stakeholders. And those are just a few. And we continue with our usual programming, Simply Agriculture and Doctor on Call and Beyond the Headlines, and We Culture, and release it, different programs targeting different things, because as you mentioned, we try to look at the whole picture, the whole self. We like to try and connect the dots, and remain relevant with our audiences.
Janet, that was quite a mouthful there.
It's quite a mouthful, it's quite a bit, and we'll go through more as time goes along.
Definitely. And there's somebody on the side of you there, he is like, why is she talking about these things? I want to talk about the meat.
Yeah.
His favorite meat is fish, let's just see. Oh, how we wish. Joseph Cadore?
Can you tie the fish on a rope?
Lord, that's her bestie. Don't put your mouth. Can you tie the fish on a rope?
My Lord.
She saved the best. King of the Grill for you, JC. Tell us what's happening there.
Well, good night, good evening, Ms. Campbell. Good evening to our listeners and viewers. As you can well imagine, after a 2-year absence, it is back. We are back, Grenada. We are back in living colors. The date is the 4th of March. It's at 4th of June. Sorry, 4th of June. The excitement. It is in Montrouge. I mean, I literally got to a point where you walk around St. George in the midst of the pandemic. Everyone's a JC. When is King of the Grill? And you have to painstakingly say to them folks, I don't know. How could you not know? But literally now we have a date. The date is already sanctioned. We've got a letter of approval. The location is already sanctioned and approved. It's going to be at Montrouge, and it promises to be bigger and better. It's the biggest family event that takes place in Grenada, bar none, and we say that without any reservation. If you have any arguments over that, take it up with the managing director. But certainly it's going to be epic. You can expect the regular frills that comes with it. There's a food element to it. I know there's some people, my boy Dwight, creative chef, waiting to eat the food, as they say. But it is going to be a real spectacle. And for us at the GBN, we really pride ourselves on being able to provide and being able to execute and provide one of the really biggest family events that there is on the island. And certainly not just in Grenada. We've had, 2019, 2018, the luxury of a team flying out of Jamaica that came in the evening and flew out. I mean, people, they won. People were like, really? But it only shows. See that they said they were sitting in Jamaica and they're like, really? Seriously? This looks exciting. And that's the vision that we have for King of the Grill. I know we've toyed with the idea of having a regional competition where you take the best grillers from Grenada and you pit them against grillers around the Caribbean. I mean, but certainly that's where we're taking it, but we're just happy that King of the Grill is back, and we just want to mark the date, get the calendars out. It's the 4th of March, Montreal Rouge. I'll be there. The whole kitchen kibbutz is going to be there. It's going to be epic. And Godfrey's going to be there too. I promise you.
I'm good.
March again.
Yeah, and you said March again.
What's what I said March?
Listen, Grenada, it is June 4th, 2022. You said something and I was going like, Joseph, are you serious?
The flames are lit.
It is serious. The
Dead
flames are lit. King of the Grill.
Barbecue crab.
If you're skirting around what you want to tell everybody, get the pork out.
Well, I don't have to mention that. I mean,
it goes without saying.
That goes without saying. I don't have to mention that, but it is going to be exciting.
The whole of Grenada knows about you by now. So with all of this happening, Grenada, we're really catering for you here at the GBN. We had Godfrey Augustine with us earlier, and he's with us again because by now, Godfrey is indeed a pioneer. Last year he led the charge, the first ever agricultural forum. This year he came, that was confidential conversations, by the way, right? But he had to tell people what my response was. But I stand by it because he came again, he's like, I'm going to do something different. I'm like, what is it now? And he says, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a health forum. I'm like, you know what? You do your thing, partner. Mr. Augustine, no health forum, and it's like you can't wait for the year to pause. You're going on to some tree planting. Tell us about tree planting. You're a climate change activist. You're trying to compete with me at Motley COP26 Scotland.
No, there are a lot of important things that we don't pay attention to as a people, you know. And I sometimes think we don't, well, I'm not sure if we don't understand or we don't realize how much we are hurting ourselves. You know, climate change is as real can be. A lot of times you hear people complain about too much rain. Then when the rain stops and you get hot sun, they complain of, oh boy, the place hot, too much heat. And we don't realize we are cutting all our trees to burn coals and to do all of the different things. And I have nothing against people who try to make a living, but we need to understand the importance of the trees. They play a very significant role in our lives. If there are no trees, we're all dead, because what we exhale, they take in, and what they give out, that's what we need. So it's important that we have trees. And again, with people like Daniel Lewis, who's been supporting me on our agricultural program, a lot of things come up and come out. And so these ideas, they come across and you realize, wait, but it's important to stop supposing what we have to do and let's just do it. You know, a lot of times you hear people say, we need to do. Well, we need to stop needing to do and start doing. And at the GBN, we believe in that. We have to do things. If we don't do things, then nothing is going to happen. So we are, in fact, last Sunday, no, not yesterday, the one before, we went out in search of a tree that I heard about, but I never knew what it looked like, star apple tree. And we found one up in a mountain in Palm East. And we came across some very interesting things. So this is a promotion that will be starting pretty soon, so folks can look out for that, in search of trees. A lot of these traditional or indigenous trees, we don't see them anymore. Janelle mentioned the stinking toe, you know, and we know what stinking toe is good for. When you sucker to stinking toe, I mean, please smash up. So it's important to have these trees around. Also, we lost some of them because they're older,